Howdy, I'm Chris Wininger. For those of you that were able to attend the gallery, I worked on call and response, and every picture tells a story. Call and response was actually a collaboration between myself, Ainsley Wagner, and Andrew Allred, who are not here tonight. Every picture tells a story is a solo project I worked on. This is my third time presenting as part of the Rules and Play series. It's been really great. Guess I'm not super sure where this crowd is, but I'll talk a little bit about kind of what it's been like for me as a developer delving into art projects like this. I've been a developer, software developer for probably, I don't know, over a decade now. I've always been kind of interested in art and the intersection of computer science and art. I'd say actually that's kind of goes back to some of what inspired me to get into software development in the first place was seeing video games and seeing interactive art installations and things like that where the computer appeared to have agency and appeared to come to life and appeared to present a world within. And that kind of creative expression that offers and that kind of magic that arises when you see sort of what should be an inanimate object behaving in ways that are intelligent and responding to you, and you can have a dialogue with it. So that for me is what I try to get out of these projects. I try to create something, and it fits nicely with sort of the rules and play theme, which is basically taking these simple rules and sort of building on them to create something that has, for me, I like to see some kind of emergent behavior or something surprising. Some of the things as a developer that I've kind of learned in this process and that have helped me, I think, grow both as a developer and as an artist, there's a lot of technical concerns that come up in a gallery space that maybe you don't think of until you do it. A lot of them aren't that dissimilar to some of the challenges you might face if you're doing like back-end server development for some sort of enterprise technology. There are problems like uptime, resilience, and testing the thing really well. Is you've got this piece of art that you've created. It's basically an application. You've ran it on your laptop. It ran fine for 20 minutes and you and your friends played with it. Sounds great. But then you put it in a gallery where it's supposed to run without anyone, technical intervening for maybe a month straight. That's a very different scenario. So it starts to expose bugs in your software that you might not see in like a 5-minute, 20-minute run. You start to see where you have memory leaks. You start to see where maybe you've got some code that's not performing enough, that's in a tight loop. You start to hit problems like network performance issues. One of my big setbacks with this last gallery was that the Wi-Fi at this gallery wasn't quite up to par with what I tested on. And I had some places where I should have had guard conditions and asynchronous code that weren't there. And the result was when the network latency got slower than a certain amount, then I started having events pile up, wherein other pieces of my code were in a crucial bit of code that was hitting the network, waiting for callbacks, got a second request coming in. I started having conflicting requests coming in over the top of each other, and it ended up slowing down the entire installation and also turning my Twitter feed into a spam bot. So those are kind of, if you're coming at it from a developer, there's a lot of good fundamental sort of developer skills that doing a project like this really exercises. If you're coming at this from more of like an artist perspective, I guess one thing I could talk about is things you might want to try to learn, and like, what sort of technologies I like to use. There's a wide range of technologies out there you can use to build exhibits like this. I've personally liked to use JavaScript because that's what I do every day and I'm good at it. I know a lot of people here use Unity, which is another great tool for doing graphical applications like this. You know, used very heavily for game development, but great for art stuff. I'm not sure how much time do I have left here. Is there any questions or anything that anybody'd like to ask? Or
did you have to monitor your project very closely throughout the whole exhibition?
So that's something I'd like to build in the next time I do one of these, is some sort of remote monitoring. As far as I know, so I did a lot of pre-testing where I would let it do like 24-hour, 48-hour runs at home and see how that went. But mostly the monitoring was if somebody called me and said it's broken, and luckily that didn't happen very much. So my assumption is that it was running most of the time because I didn't get many calls. And when I went in and checked, it was working. So that was my monitoring this time. But that's definitely something I would like to look into for future exhibits, is monitoring. The danger of monitoring, though, is always that the code to monitor the thing is going to be where you have your problems. So you have to be careful with that. So, all right, so great. So yeah, and if you want to check out more about any of my projects or anything like that, I have a website, wegotrats.com. Wegotrats.com. And so I just talk about computer science and art and stuff like this. And I've got a blog post that covers in more detail what I talked about tonight.